What is that? It is the prince. He is coming.
Hello and welcome to our Halloween streams, everybody. I am your host, Lord Captain Commander Dunn, and I'm about to bring in my wonderful guests. Yes, I am excited to be chatting about Evil Dead, the Evil Dead movies, excluding the first one, since we didn't really watch it. We mostly watched Evil Dead 2 since it's basically the first movie, but a little bit better. And then you have the Army of Darkness. Then we watched the remake. So, because of this, we've got 3 movies to talk about. Each is fairly different than the other ones. Allow me to bring in the guests. First off,
here's to the part and I'm calling me plum. Here's to the beast and the rest of you scum. The cage is locked in and the town is aflame, and it's ours for the taking. There you get the fame.
Good evening, everyone. This is kind of later than I'm used to, but still happy to be here.
Yep, always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Now, I figure I should use this one since I don't frequently get to use it. So I'm going to give it to White.
Tell me, do you bleed? You will.
Fucking cringe! Stop that. You should give that to another cringe called E-Man gameplay.
I'm just more upset you don't have any like holiday or time period specific.
I have a few time period specific for Wolf and Neff and a few others. I could get.
That works.
I've got a few, but I don't really have any for White other than his original, which is kind of scary, horror-ish. But I just felt like I wanted to use the "Do You Bleed" because I'm a dick.
I would have used the I would have gotten the clip from Army of Darkness where he says, "Listen up, you primitive screwheads."
That's a good one, yeah.
That's definitely a Tarek opening or opener.
Listen here, you shits.
So, got the Prezi all worked up. I think I did a decent job of, I couldn't find many horror themed Prezi things, but I was able to find this, which is fairly close.
Ain't all red, so it's wrong.
Yeah, what can you do? So,
dumb whore.
Your mother was a dumb whore with a fat arse.
No, it can't be true. Damn.
Yeah, Amelia Clark is a great bud. She looks great.
All right.
Yeah. So, let's talk about our initial thoughts on the series. So, I've actually never seen either. We're not going to be including Evil Dead 1. At least, I'm not going to be able to comment much on Evil Dead 1 since it's basically isn't it kind of a Evil Dead 2 is kind of a remake of Evil Dead 1, but with kind of a more comedy bent?
Yes, actually. Evil Dead 1, it's funny. Evil Dead 1 and 2 all were kind of a remake of an earlier student film, or a proof of concept film that Sam Raimi did, using the same cabin, obviously. The man shoots on the cheap. He seriously does. He'll reuse assets and stuff in all of his movies. I I apologize. I lost my train of thought. What was the question?
Tart
Evil
kinda
Dead is
forgot.
basically a remake of Evil Dead 2 is basically a comedy horror remake of
Remake.
Evil Dead 1.
Yes,
which was
I apologize.
which as far as I know was very much a they wanted it to be very shocking is my understanding of Evil Dead 1.
Yes, I have seen the original, and that is kind of true. It was somewhat shocking with the gore and everything. It wasn't as cartoonishly gory as, say, Evil Dead 2, but it was much more akin to the Evil Dead remake, in that it took itself fairly seriously. Like that's why the Evil Dead remake is the way it is, because it's not remake of 2, it's a remake of 1, which was a much more serious movie.
And that's kind of why it doesn't necessarily work very well by comparison to the others.
Well, the other thing is that, and I was talking about this with Becca the other day when we were watching another 80s horror movie. When you film a movie like either Evil Dead or oh Lord, Evil Dead or Return of the Living Dead or something else like that, the film quality of the 1980s, specifically like the fact it's shot on film, it has very muted colors at times, and it's shot in a very distinct style. It really helps to kind of give it that timeless feel, if you know what I mean. Like it has its own atmosphere that's not easily replicated. And I think that's the problem that Evil Dead the remake ran into, is that it was too clean. Evil Dead needs to be very messy. Even the original, though it was not as gory or funny as 2, it was still a very messy movie.
Yeah, I imagine that was a big thing about the movie, was like you don't really have much in the way of like high budget stuff, and you're doing a lot of a lot of in camera effects to kind of make it so that let's not waste money.
Exactly.
But with Evil Dead 1, with Evil Dead 2, I think we were all just having like, this is really goofy.
Oh yeah, it's slapstick. It has a lot of like slapstick.
Yeah, and it doesn't have tree rape.
Well, it kind of does, but at one point. But you don't see it this time.
It's not as explicit as as it is in the original and the remake.
Right.
Which is kind of a sequel remake in a way, because you see Ash's car and you also see Ash
at the end.
Yeah.
Again, I still think that was nothing more than a production logo.
I can't disagree with you there. But yeah, like Evil Dead 2, it's not terribly complicated. It's very simple to sum up, but it's very much a like quick thoughts before we get into details. It's very much a comedy slapstick movie with elements of gruesome horror. But not like in a exploitative way like the remake kind of gets sometimes.
Right. I agree with that. I do agree with that. Wait, you haven't said a word since we started. What are your thoughts?
Oh yeah, they're great. Sorry, I just have a lot of background stuff going on.
Oh, I can hear it.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying not to speak too much. Well, essentially, yeah, Evil Dead series, yeah, especially with like the old cameras and how film is made. It does, but the remake does seem a bit clean. And what was his name? I can't remember. His another director went out of his way to find an old camera and reel to shoot with.
Oh, the guy who made The Lighthouse?
No, no, he made what was that guy? It was Samuel Jackson plays in it. He's like, Do you know the line from Samuel Jackson? Speak English, motherfucker. Do you
Oh,
speak
Quentin
it?
Tarantino.
Yeah, yeah, him. Yeah, he went out of his way, I think, to make some. I think it was one with the Titanic actor. What was his name?
Oh, you're talking
DiCaprio?
about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, that movie. I think he used like an actual. Or was that a Western movie he made? I think it might have been that
Django
Western movie.
Unchained. Django
Yeah.
Unchained.
I think it might have. I think it was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood because it was this film set in the 1970s. So it only makes sense that he would want to use a 70s camera.
Okay.
But yeah,
So yeah, I would have to watch that movie again just to see how it looked.
Yeah.
good movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'd love
Look-
to do a response to School of Movies on that one. They hated that movie.
Once Upon a Time in
I will
Hollywood.
burn them in a fire.
Yes.
God, these people have no taste.
Yeah, they
This
also hated
means war.
Joker. They
This
also
means
hated
war.
Joke.
War.
They hated Joker. They hate Infinity War after the fact.
The Lighthouse, I'd assume they don't like.
I don't know what their opinion of the Lighthouse is. I think they actually liked it. They didn't do a review of it. I think it was. I think that okay. So good movies they didn't like. Okay, well, mostly bad. They like a lot of bad movies like Terminator: Dark Fate.
Of course they do.
Love TLJ. Really don't like Rise of Skywalker, but they were extremely forgiving of it on their podcast because mostly like they try to build a narrative that they're very positive or at least forgiving about Star Wars, so they don't let their just.
What about the
disappointment-
prequels then? Hmm?
Oh, they hate the prequels. They really don't like them.
that's hateful though.
Nah, George Lucas is a white dude.
Oh.
Yeah. So's mother.
Wait. Well, Ryan Johnson's white.
I'm about
and
to
J.J.
say.
Abrams are white. Wait, what's the problem
But
there?
he's an ally. He's progressive. He's sticking it to the man babies.
Damn.
What a bunch of faggots. And not only that, but they have that trans person too. So immediately, that proves my point.
All we need now is another replica excursion just to really lighten the mood.
No,
And
we're
this
talking about good things tonight. We don't need him.
No, replica would come here and just start picking away at the movies. Like, you see, this is unrealistic because they're just floating in air.
Oh, I'm
yet
sorry.
He never applies any of that to the prequels.
I have
Dead
so
by
many notes on
Dawn.
Phantom Menace. I wonder if you can actually counter them.
Well, you put them up in Anomalies Discord, and nobody can
Yeah.
come up with anything substantive.
Yeah, like the one that always stuck with me. It's like oh, it's clearly you have clearly misjudged my point. It was they obviously were all about a trade dispute, so it must mean that they don't want no taxes. I'm like, how the hell do you know that? And they show me the title crawl. This is where they said that. I'm like, that doesn't say anything. It says that it's in dispute. That means nothing.
Or I think my favorite one was Palpatine is playing 5D chess. That's why this makes sense.
5D chess.
To be
You didn't
fair,
know that?
to be
Yeah.
fair, the man is playing 5D chess the entire series, like the entire prequel trilogy. But I don't know, like in the context of what they're talking about, if that really works.
I'm like, his plan isn't really. It's just to manipulate a really stupid person who should have been in power in the first place. Padme, the Queen of Naboo, for some reason. And she's stupidly easy to manipulate. It's shocking, really.
Well, yeah, she's not. She's a queen. They're very easy to manipulate, as we all know.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, how about your queen?
I knew that was gonna come up. It was a calculated risk, but then I remembered, oh fuck, I'm bad at math. Ah, shit. Well, at least she's not watching right now. I pray to God she doesn't watch it later.
You know, it was great that she didn't come up that one time I said that one thing. I don't want to speak again.
I don't even know what the fuck that just was. I think Dunn just got possessed by a demon, but
He's a vampire. It makes sense.
whatever.
The way that you said "come up" just made me
Oh,
chuckle.
come on. Done, you dirty little bastard.
I'm younger than you, I think. At least
Hey,
I don't.
I've been like you for almost a couple of days now. I can't wait till this Halloween goes over so I can cure myself and just be a regular ice zombie again.
The fuck are you two talking about?
It's fine, never mind. You don't want to know the
Yeah.
context.
Okay.
No, I really don't. Can we move on?
Okay.
Before I
So-
get myself in more trouble.
Okay. So like kind of, I guess, like what are y'all's like overall thoughts on like the series, since this is very different than a lot of horror that I've watched?
It's really fun to watch. It's
I-
goofy.
I honest to God think you can call this the perfect like horror trilogy. Unironically.
Yeah, I would agree, since like I would put the Planet of the Apes trilogy as the perfect way to do a prequel series.
But I think this is I genuinely think this is the perfect horror trilogy. You have the very serious one in the beginning, which makes sense because it's, you know, a legitimate horror movie. You have the sequel Remake, which was mostly done because I think Sam Raimi lost the rights. No, it's the other way around. After Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness is owned by a different studio. But he did it to kind of continue the story and clean it up. And then you have Army of Darkness, which is just a pure continuation. And it's all just entertaining. It's all fun to play. It's all fun to see.
Yeah, I would agree. And Army of Darkness, like, is it better and Game of Thrones than Long
Oh,
Night
yeah.
episode
Never-
than the Long Night
You
ones?
shut up, you fucking
He's
thingy
not
ass
wrong.
faggot.
He's not
Shut up.
wrong.
I am in denial, can't you tell?
Yes.
Quiet. I don't want to be depressed again.
Sam
We'll talk
Sam
about that
Raimi,
one. Go for it.
Sam Raimi made a better King Arthur movie than the one that came out a few years ago, and he made a better Game of Thrones ending.
I am literally playing Nearer to My God by Thee right now in my head as my Titanic brain sinks into beneath the waves.
Yeah.
Coincidence? I think not!
Yeah.
My day is ruined. And
You're
I
welcome.
Am gonna go. And I am gonna go. See you. Damn it.
You get your ass back here, you punts.
He couldn't let it sit for just a minute.
No. Just quit being a little bitch.
Yeah.
My timing is perfect. It's just he doesn't want me to have my moment.
Hmm.
Okay, so back to the topic at hand.
I would say Army of Darkness is the best one in my subjective opinion.
Really?
Yeah, I like that one a lot more.
I like Army of Darkness as like kind of the closer to the series, if you know what I mean. But I think Evil Dead 2 is my favorite.
Oh my
Simply
god.
be-
But my opinion's better. Oh.
I got a question though. When did you guys first hear about these movies?
I think that I first like heard about these movies when Blockbuster Buster did, who I was following at the time. I now don't, because Barrick Rodriguez is kind of dumb. Because he did a old versus new of Evil Dead versus old versus new of Evil Dead versus the remake.
Right.
And that was kind of the first time I'd ever heard about it. I believe.
All right.
And then I just didn't. I saw trailers for the show. Didn't watch it because I didn't know if not sure if this is necessarily for me. Now I'm just I'm a little bit more open-minded now. I've had the ability to kind of sample a lot of different flavors of TV shows, and I'm interested to kind of see what this one does.
All right. What about you, White? Or have you never heard about it till we start watching it?
No, I've actually heard about. I've been watching these movies for a long time.
Really?
By this point, yeah. My stepfather introduced to me a long time ago.
Well, I heard about these through James Rolfe's Cinemassacres. Oh, fuck. Why am I blanking on the name? I watch it every year.
Never heard of that movie before.
No, Monster Madness. Cinemassacre Monster Madness. That is the Angry Video Game Nerds Halloween thing. He does it each year. And basically, it's 31 days of movie reviews. Now, when I was a teenager, the first one came out, and he was talking about Evil Dead and Evil Dead Army of Darkness. And I was like, what is this? I've never heard of this. And then I started watching the review, and it was awesome. I was like, oh my God, this looks amazing. I must have been about 15 or 16 at the time. So this was back when you could put full movies on YouTube. Remember those days?
Yeah, I remember those days. That was how I watched the 1999 Beowulf, and which is a bad movie. Don't watch it unless you want to riff on it because it's really stupid.
Don, you are the person who shows us all of the bad things. What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, I guess we could watch that sometime.
Oh, never mind.
But anyways.
I did have an idea of what we could watch next year.
Oh, please, God, no.
It's a good movie. It's called From Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, that is a good movie. Another Tarantino, actually.
And
I'm gonna go watch that now.
Or is that Robert Rodriguez?
Yeah, it could either be the fourth, another movie that we watched this year, or we could watch that, a couple of the sequels, and then the show next year.
Oh yeah, there was a show.
Yeah, it was 3 seasons, and it wasn't terrible. It was actually pretty decent. Third season was kind of weird, but how about that? We watch next year. I mean, it's a long ways off, but we watch Cabin in the Woods next week, do a show on it, and then we'll watch the Dusk Till Dawn and the sequels, and some of its sequels, and the TV show.
That sounds cool.
Alrighty, cool. We will log that down and make sure that we don't have overlap, so we can just spend the entire month of October doing a different kind of horror show than the sequels. But yeah, I think one thing that I kind of wanted, what are we've talked a little bit about it, but what are the elements of Evil Dead that kind of make it stand out? I think just the series as a whole.
Well, obviously the slapstick is the biggest one, because it's not often you have, even Shaun of the Dead, which has a little bit of slapstick in it, occasionally. Evil Dead plays more what if the Three Stooges summoned Satan? Except it's only Curly, and he's kind of a nitwit. More so.
Yeah.
It's definitely... Go ahead, sorry.
Or kind of a thug.
Yeah,
that's how I would describe. That's how I would describe Ash. He is definitely a thug.
Good point. Yeah.
He's kind of that football jock type.
Oh, he definitely is.
Who is good with his hands, all that sort of thing, but is not terribly bright.
No, believe it or not, actually, it's interesting. He is actually an engineer. In the lore, he went to Michigan State and actually has a degree in engineering. That's why he's able to do the things he's able to do.
Hmm.
But his dad says, you have a degree in engineering, but and this is in season 2 of the show, you spent all that money, to $20,000 to become an engineer, and you work at a freaking supermarket. And as seen in like Army of Darkness, he is ironically very good with his hand.
Yeah.
The one hand, I should say.
Yeah, he's like able to like just make a like chainsaw like rig that he can use to just slash things up.
Not only that, but like, for God's sake, in Army of Darkness, he makes a prosthetic hand.
Yeah. Which does not, unfortunately, carry over to the show because they didn't have the rights to Army of Darkness.
Which, well, actually, he still gets one, but it's not the same one, which is a shame. Yeah.
Hmm.
But it is such a neat thing that not only that, but what he did with his car, what he was making freaking he was making gunpowder too.
In the what, 5th century AD or something?
I thought he said 13th century, so like 1200 or something. Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, it's so cool. Such a good freaking series and good movie.
Yeah. And like, we know that this is a prequel to Doom Eternal. To Doom
Oh my
Eternal.
god, you're right.
Yeah, he's killing demons. He's got a chainsaw, and he's got a sawed-off shotgun.
You know what? You're actually wrong. This is actually more of a sequel to or prequel to Quake more than Doom, because Quake actually has the Eldritch abominations like an Evil Dead, and it has a chainsaw, and it has a sawed-off shotgun.
Your opinion is wrong because I said so. I don't need facts. Fuck you.
You've never played Quake.
I choose
Fuck
to
you.
accept in my head. I choose to accept in my head canon that Ash is either the precursor to Doom guy, or he is Doom guy. He just got broken inside.
Actually, what's funny is he's actually more likely related to Duke Nukem, because Duke Nukem in the 3D game stole all of Ash's lines, like "Hail to the King," "This is my boomstick." He uses all of Ash's lines.
This is my boomstick, and he just reels off the technical details of his gun.
And not only that, but that double barrel was what, $199.99 at S Mart. That is cheap for a shotgun.
Oh my, I want that.
I wish I could get a gun that cheap.
The only thing you can get that cheap was probably like a fucking Missing the Gaunt or something, because they just made so fucking many of them.
Actually, my 22 revolver I have was basically 156. Well, I'm more likely to just piss something off than to kill something with it. But yeah.
I have a bunch of 22 ammo with no 22. So.
Wow. But Evil Dead is unique though in that the way it was directed, the tricks it's using, but mostly in its tone. That's what makes it really unique.
I would definitely concur. It is like most horror movies are trying to scare you. This is more kind of to make you laugh while kind of freaking you out a little bit.
Yeah. But the thing is that the atmosphere really helps this movie. Because it is a very atmospheric movie, despite like the comedy it has.
Mm-hmm.
I'm waiting for somebody to follow up here.
Yeah.
Follow up on what?
On anything.
I definitely think that like with the atmosphere is definitely like I think like especially with like Bruce Campbell's very expressive face.
Oh yeah, it surprises me every time I watch the movie just how far he can dislocate his jaw. Because he is making he's making like Three Stooges expressions. He's making very exaggerated facial movements.
Yeah, because if you don't, I think like if it was anybody other than Bruce the Chin Campbell, it just wouldn't have. It just kind of wouldn't have seemed at all like it would have kind of gotten like gruesome or terrifying. Actually, like legit, gore fest, like the remake became.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like with the remake, you can kind of see the problem here because it goes from a very unique set of circumstances in the way the movie was made to just a generic. And I think I said this when we were watching it. It's just now a generic exorcism movie.
Kinda, yeah.
Because there's nothing. There's kind of nothing to it past that. There's no unique selling point. It's just, oh, we're 4 kids in a cabin, 4 or 5 people in a cabin, spooky shit happens. You've seen this movie before. This is what freaking Friday the 13th is based on.
Cabin in the Woods also.
Any horror movie.
Yeah, the only thing that has like kind of going for it is the fact that it is freaking gory. It is very, very gory.
Credit to the movie where it's due. Yes, some of the gore effects and especially the reactions from Mia and some of the other actors really sell that pain.
Yeah, like when she's carving up her own tongue.
Yeah.
Or when the lady is cutting off her own hand because it's been infected.
But unlike Evil Dead, which the original Evil Dead 2, which played the gore outrageously, but you never really got the sense that they were in a lot of pain. And that's not a knock against the movie. That's just the direction they decided to go with. But in the remake, you can see the look of pain on everybody's face as they are doing like cutting off an arm, or when Mia is getting cut by the machete. And it's not a quick thing either, which I think really also works. They linger on these shots.
Mm-hmm. You especially are having a lot of like awful things happen to the nail gun, which is just like, that's not how a nail gun works, Mr. Raimi.
Raimi didn't even direct it.
Okay, that's not okay. Mr. Evil Dead remake writer, that's not how it works. Sorry.
That's not. Well, I mean, there is a way to do that, but I don't know. You obviously know that a nail gun works on pressure. Like, you're supposed to keep it pressed against something to fire the nail. I think there is a way to legitimately just break that lever or that thing that keeps the pressure, so it thinks there is, but I don't know if it would still fly with enough force to
puncture through a man's arm.
Yeah, I doubt it though.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's slightly ridiculous, which is kind of funny because so is the second movie, and yet it makes so much more logistical sense how everything is happening.
Yeah, I think there's kind of an element with we've talked a lot about like what's different than most horror movies. Like, that's why I chose these 2 different images very specifically, because I think they're definitely exemplative of the movies that we watched.
Oh yeah,
where one is kind of Bruce the Chin Campbell going kind of nuts in this cabin as the cabin is trying to mess with him.
The part where the deer head is laughing at him and everything in the room is joining in, and he starts this Three Stooges routine where he does the squats and then just goes completely insane. That is top tier filmmaking, because everything except for ironically the doors, which I find odd because it would have been easy to do, are laughing at as Ash is doing this routine. And it works even better when you realize that it kind of gives every object in the room a face. It's such a great moment.
Yeah. Or when kind of like his girlfriend is like trying to mess with him, like the girlfriend's head.
Yeah.
Or it's just, don't kill me, Ash. And then she just shifts to demonic face, and it's just like, ah.
And Ash is, and I also like the part where I think it's weird. I don't know whether this is a continuity error or not, but when they go back into
Hey guys, I gotta go to the store and stuff, so I'll be back maybe,
Okay.
kinda. I don't know. So I'll see you guys later.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
see ya.
Shit. Now it's just the two of us.
You're trapped in here with me.
Well, I mean, I can always clock out. Always an option. But
This is also true, yes.
Yeah. What I was gonna say was where was I going with this? But oh yeah, I don't know whether this is a continuity error or not, but when they go back into the work shed later, the blood on the light bulb is gone. Like, it's now either dried off and chipped off, or I don't know, but it's no longer dark red.
Yeah. It's like, I think definitely one of the things about this movie is like all of these movies like use lots and lots of blood. But
There's
how
they
use
Go ahead, sorry.
But how they use the lots and lots of blood is very different depending on the movie.
Oh, Evil Dead 2 uses it like a goddamn geyser, like a literal geyser of blood out of a wall, and then it just goes back into the wall. It's insane.
Or I think like when it's literally raining blood at the end of the remake.
Oh yeah, that too. That's using it obviously as like an apocalyptic thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like showing just how fucked everything is. I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, that geyser of blood also in Evil Dead in Army of Darkness, where the swamp witch or the well witch is in it, eats the guy, and then it just explodes.
Yeah, I think with the remake though, the blood is used more for gross factor than it is for comedy, really, like the other ones were.
Right.
And I definitely think that like the thing that makes kind of these different is actually exemplified by the Evil Dead remake, which is more akin to typical horror movies of this time period rather than Evil Dead, which is a lot more eclectic, a more comedy focused than the other ones were.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It feels more like a product of its time, that remake.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel like, again, like when we were watching, I even said this, the remake just seems to have a fundamental misunderstanding of what made Evil Dead Evil Dead. It's not about the book. It's not about like all the shit going on. It was about the main character. It was about this sort of asshole character. He became more of this asshole character in Evil Dead 3 more so than 2. But this kind of dickweed of a protagonist who doesn't want to be there, doesn't want to play the hero, but he does. He ends up playing this reluctant hero.
And he's like not awful Well, okay, so he's pretty bad at it.
Oh yeah, I
Like,
know he's terrible at it. Like the whole thing, like you have to say these words or you'll fuck us all. I remember your damn words. He forgets them immediately.
And then like he not just once but twice.
Oh yeah, twice. You think he would learn?
But no.
I actually like the alternate ending to Army of Darkness. The alternate ending essentially happens where the wise man, the Merlin character, gives him this potion and says, "Okay, you're supposed to drink this. Take 10 drops, and you'll wake up back in your own time." And he goes, "Okay." So when he goes to the cave where they put the car and him in it, he takes the drops and he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then he hears something and gets distracted. So he takes another 5. He wakes up in essentially the planet of the apes where everything is destroyed. He goes, "Oh no, I slept too long." It's just stupid, and I love it.
That's great. That's
And it's such a Ash thing to do. And the other funny thing is that I'm pretty sure you can make the argument that in Evil Dead 3, you can make the argument that Ash is not the same character he was in Army of Darkness. But I would say that he's in a completely different situation now. Like how would you react to this kind of extreme? You know what I mean?
It's kind of the difference between a character who's like stuck in his own time with limited resources, and then like he gets like put into a castle where he's pretty much the apex of technological thought.
And it's him. And this is Ash Williams.
Yeah.
He's the best we have.
Which I imagine make a lot of those villagers be like, "We're all gonna die."
In fact, they say that multiple times, essentially, like, "Oh, we are so fucked."
Yeah. But it's kind of interesting that like the Evil Dead movies, like specifically Army of Darkness and Evil Dead 2, don't feel like products of their time. They feel very unique and pretty timeless, I would say.
I was actually thinking about that too, and I really agree. They are very timeless movies. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the technology or the effects and everything reek of the 80s. That's just because, of what they had to work with at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I wholeheartedly agree.
Whereas the remake feels like your Sinisters, even though I haven't seen Sinister or The Conjuring, based on what I understand of those movies, it feels very similar to those movies.
I've seen Sinister, and I've seen The Conjuring, and I disagree with that statement because Sinister has a completely different feel to it, and Conjuring, I would lean a bit more towards Conjuring, maybe, but at the same time, Conjuring is actually very good. I love that movie. It is a very creepy movie. But like I said, the problem is that when you get down to it, both of this movie is no longer has this unique feel. It's now just become, hey, this is an exorcism movie. We need to purge Mia of the evil demon living in her.
Mm-hmm. I guess like what might be like is it so would it just be like The Exorcist is the thing that's similar, or would you say that like like it's kind of just generic horror movie that doesn't really have any like specific like correlations with any other movies?
I actually haven't seen The Exorcist. That's one I've been wanting to see, but from what I understand, The Exorcist is unique in that it kind of has, I think, a preacher's, questioning his relationship with God in the movie. I may be totally wrong and think of a different movie, but the whole entire idea with that is he has to find his faith again in order to exorcise this girl. So I'd make the argument that The Exorcist is its own movie, while this is just a generic demon horror Exorcist movie.
Okay.
But if this didn't have the Evil Dead name to it, this would feel like one of those movies that's shoved on Amazon and kind of has no fanfare to it. You know what I mean?
Like kind of like an Amazon direct to streaming movie, or just like one of those movies that like just Amazon just can get its hands on and just says, "Hey, we have this. Want to watch it?"
Yeah, I'd say kind of maybe the latter. Maybe not direct, like maybe it had a limited theater run, or maybe it was made like with Amazon money because the effect work is really good. But there's nothing unique in it to really warrant having the Evil Dead name.
I think a big failing of the remake is the character work.
Yeah, they're all they're generic teenagers, and they're doing she's a drug addict and everything. That was the funny thing about Evil Dead. Like in Evil, like okay, in the first episode of Ash versus Evil Dead, the whole reason why the show happens is because Ash got high one night and read from the book. Now here's the thing. That works because this is something an irresponsible guy like Ash would do.
Because he's kind of a jackass. And
he's trying to impress a girl, so he's reading the Necronomicon telling her it's poetry.
And the thing is, he's Bruce Campbell. He doesn't need to impress anybody.
And again, like that, the whole thing with Ash is that he's always been like, not the hapless hero, but more like, the way he was described to me, I believe, is that he's a very reluctant hero. He doesn't want to be playing hero. He wants to just go back to drinking beer.
And screwing all the ladies, even in, his 50s or 60s or his 40s?
In Ash vs. Evil Dead?
Yeah.
He's in his 50s, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so Bruce Campbell basically has the game to get any chick he wants, pretty much.
Yeah, especially in that movie. But that's the thing, like, that's part of the appeal of the character. It's not that he's this creepy old guy. It's that he's this asshole reluctant hero who wants to do nothing more than drink beer and just enjoy life. He wants to live life the way everybody wants to.
He wants to drink beer, he wants to shag women, and he wants to just have an easy life.
Exactly, which is why he lives in a trailer. But and again, like why he never did anything with that engineering degree he spent all that time on. There's a great episode in this show that involves a hand puppet. It is terrific.
Oh, I imagine it is. I'm excited to watch this show over the next few weeks.
I don't want to spoil it, but the puppet is called Ashy Slashy, and it's literally a Bruce Campbell like hand puppet, complete with the chainsaw arm.
Oh yeah, that's pretty dang awesome. I love it.
I heard a lot of people don't like that episode because it is very silly and it kind of feels like a filler episode. But God, Bruce Campbell's performance in that one episode, playing off himself, is goddamn amazing.
Yeah, I'm excited to like watch this show for the first time. I'm also interested to when we get to next year when we watch the From Dusk Till Dawn series,
right?
Because I actually like that show. It's definitely kind of toned down. I'll be interested to kind of actually watch the movie for the first time, since I watched the show before I ever watched the movie. I just knew what happened in the movie.
Right. What's actually when we started doing this though, I picked up. I don't know if you know this, but Evil Dead obviously has a lot of media, extra sources like comics, games, and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I picked up the omnibus, volume 1 omnibus of Army of Darkness. And it is a thick book with a lot of the issues. There's 3 omnibuses, but unfortunately they're out of print. So it's kind of harder to get them. But I have the one where he fights Jason and Freddy, which is a great comic. Both of them. Like there's one where he fights Freddy and Jason. And then they have a sequel comic to that, obviously, because of course you have to have a sequel comic to that one.
That's just nuts. It's kind of like Predator versus Alien. Only
in fact,
like, not the crap movie, rather than.
But it's even better because it follows up Freddy versus Jason, the movie, and now it just includes Ash in it because he's been transferred to the Crystal Lake S-Mart. There's one great kill where this old man is just slaughtered by Jason by a shopping cart. He picks up the shopping cart, and you know how Jason has like super strength.
Yeah. He
just slams the shopping cart into the guy, turning him into paste.
Dang.
Like imagine a cheese grater, and you just shove the cheese in it, and little squares of cheese come out. Imagine that, but with human flesh. It's nuts.
That is pretty crazy.
And of course, it actually also kind of proves how intelligent that Ash is, because there's one point where Freddy obviously invades his dreams. And to wake himself, he's back in the cabin, because of course he is. Hand gets infected again, but it turns into a fleshy version of Freddy's glove. And in order to wake himself up from the dream, he uses the shotgun and places the barrel on his forearm after he fired it. So that thing is blazing hot. And he uses the shock to wake himself up, and it works. And I'm like, okay, you know what? That takes some ingenuity.
Yeah, he's definitely like he's mechanically minded, but he's very non-people minded.
Oh, he's an immature jackass. He's like a teenager.
Yeah. Yeah, very much so.
That's why it's kind of funny, because in Ash versus in the sequel comic with Freddy and Jason, the man actually kind of grows up a bit. People criticize the comic for that because they like the more immature Ash, the one who doesn't take anything seriously. But I think by this point in the comic, the man's just kind of had enough. He's just like, I gotta start taking this seriously. I have caused too many people to die because I'm being a jackass.
I have had it with these mother effing deadites in this mother effing cabin.
It is. If you can find the comics, I highly recommend them. In fact, there's one where he takes on Dracula and the classic monsters. There's one where he meets Darkman, another comic character Sam Raimi did a movie on. So many great movies. I mean, great comics.
Don't we miss good things?
I do.
It's kind of sad that we have to either go to the past or just kind of like look for like indie stuff in order to get good things anymore.
Well, I think that's why. I think that's kind of why. Hold on, sorry. Give me a second. My sound just went nuts. Okay, I think that's kind of the reason why Evil Dead has always worked. It is a very indie sort of series. Mm-hmm. Even Army of Darkness kind of feels indie, and that had major money behind it.
Yeah, I think partially it's. I think like it kind of feels like, I guess, like, so it kind of, I don't know why, but it kind of reminds me of when Guillermo del Toro was making Pacific Rim. He actually, like, they ran like under budget, like they had extra money left over that he just gave back to the studio. He's like, yeah, I you don't have to like everything, like here's your money back. you didn't need all of it. We didn't need all of it to film this. And they were just like, they were probably like, dang, cool, thank you.
That's the thing. Like, that's the thing. I'm sure Army of Darkness was one of the most expensive movies he did at the time, and it more than likely was, simply because you need the sets, you need the costumes and everything. But there's such a soul to it. There's such a nice sort of artistic vision to it.
Yeah, like kind of the hey Sheila. He just calls the lady Sheila. He doesn't even bother to learn her real name. He just calls her Sheila.
I think even in the comics I know in the comics they continue to call her Sheila. I don't even think it is her real name. Such amazing content, such a great series of movies. And again, the series, and I think the series got made because, one, there was a revival of the series. When the series came out on Blu-ray and DVD, people ate it up. It's kind of like John Carpenter's The Thing, which did not do well commercially.
Mm-hmm.
Or critically, I don't think on its original run.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think Evil Dead did well on its original run because people liked the first one and thought this one was really good too. I know Army of Darkness was a critical failure because I think the problem with that was the fact that they called it Army of Darkness instead of Evil Dead 3.
Yeah.
Probably a rights issue again, but yeah, God, there's so much to talk about with these movies, and it's such limited content, but there's so much to it.
Yeah, like I think like one big thing about it is just the fact that like it's got so much creativity in terms of the Deadites. I don't know if necessarily it has as much like creativity as something like Doom or Doom Eternal. That stuff's really creative.
We gotta get you playing different games, man. There's like Doom is great, but there's a whole bunch of other games. I'm just letting you know.
I know. I've been working on Dead Space, and I've done like you mean like in terms of the demon designs.
Yeah.
Like I imagine like Resident Evil probably has some like pretty legit weird stuff in there.
Oh yeah, definitely. Some of them are just nuts, especially in the newest game, which are nothing more than universal horror monsters. And one of the main bad guys, I forget his name. He's basically Dr. Frankenstein he's the allegory to Frankenstein. Dude sounds like Nicolas Cage or Elvis.
You're cutting out, so I can't quite understand you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
I think you cut off after the. Yeah, I can hear you now. I think you cut off right after the Dr. Frankenstein remark.
Okay, so what I was saying was the Dr. Frankenstein guy sounds, no joke, like Elvis or Nicolas Cage. He talks with this really weird, not tone. Inflection, thank you, that's the word. He talks with this very weird inflection where he kind of pauses between words that you shouldn't pause between, or he extends certain syllables, sort of like Nicolas Cage does. It's amazing.
Or like Christopher Walken.
Not even like Walken. It legit sounds like Nicolas Cage. Or Elvis, like back in the 60s.
We got a local Elvis impersonator here named Elvis himself.
I remember that.
Yeah. You got to pay the dues if you want to sing the blues.
Actually, interesting note about Campbell. Did you know he's also an Elvis impersonator?
I wouldn't be surprised, actually. He looks very much like Elvis.
You ever heard of Bubba Hotep?
No. I
Okay. Let me pitch this to you. This is a real movie. Elvis didn't die in the 60s. His double died. He basically made a contract with this double and exchanged so Elvis could go live a normal life. Okay? Now, the Elvis who died was the double, And now he's living in a retirement home with John F. Kennedy being played by a black man. I don't remember I say that because I don't remember the actor's name. He's a good actor. He's a very good actor. But so John F. Kennedy is now a black man, and Elvis tells him, sorry to tell you, but President Kennedy was a white man. And he goes, that's how clever they are. They dyed me this color. And I'm going, wait, what? And then you have this mummy who's walking around this retirement home, sucking the souls of the residents out of their asshole.
I was thinking of the identical. I'm assuming that you, based on the fact that you react to the Elvis himself comment.
Yeah, I am. I am well versed in Brad Jones, good sir.
Yes, that is one of their funniest reviews ever because they are clearly mad. But then they develop, dang, I gotta show you this movie. It's so bad. It's so crazy.
Bubba Hotep is such a bizarre premise, as you could tell. And I highly recommend it. I've seen it.
Yeah, I'm interested. Yeah, we'll have to like.
Oh, you know what? Instead of doing Return of the Living Dead 3, let's do Bubba Hotep. That's a great movie.
Yeah, let's do Cabin in the Woods and Bubba Hotep. Either that, or we could do like From Dusk Till Dawn is kind of a either that, or we could kind of do a like Dusk Till Dawn the movie this year and then do the series next year, or just say like hold off till next year and watch the whole thing.
I say hold off.
Okay, let's do that. We'll watch Bubba Hotep and Bubba Hotep and Cabin in the Woods.
Okay, that sounds good. That sounds good.
I would like to watch that movie. I know that like it ends. I know CinemaSins did an awful review of that movie where you just literally just not understand the meaning of Deus Ex Machina, but that's par for the course for CinemaSins.
Yeah.
Because him and CinemaWins are both stupid. Anybody who watches either and thinks they're good, please wise up. They're equally bad.
I watched one once and and immediately realized they're just pointing out stuff that happens in the movie. Like that's not a sin. That's not a knock against it. It's something that happens. It's sort of like the Big Bang Theory. We're just naming things.
Yeah.
Oh, if you like that, you're trash too.
Yeah, never watched it, and yet, even though it's bad, Jonathan McIntosh can't criticize it accurately. He gets stuff wrong or is lying about context in this freaking awful show.
Wait,
Big Bang Theory.
You know what's funny? My father watches nothing but Big Bang Theory, Married with Children, and 2.5 Men. The man has seen every episode of that show at least 4 times by now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, well, have you ever heard of this? The adorkable misogyny of Big Bang Theory.
No. That's
Jonathan McIntosh's critique of the men in Big Bang Theory. Yeah, or at least like their attitude toward women, and then he contradicts himself pretty point by point in the complicity of geek masculinity in Big Bang Theory.
I don't know. Like I've seen maybe 1 or 2 episodes of the show, and I knew I hated it because that shit is like blackface for people like me. You know, like people who are passionate about superheroes and stuff and actually respect the kind of effort and work it takes to make something like Spider-Man or Superman or Batman, you know, when they're good, not like just any random issue.
Or like when you get Zack Snyder.
I respect the people who write these characters or write these stories and make them work. Hell, I met one of them when I was at a convention one year, got him to autograph one of my Spider-Man comic books. But I hate that show so much because it just boils everything down to, oh, isn't this funny and quirky? No, it's not. It's insulting.
Yeah. But Evil Dead 2, let's talk about that in specific. We talked a lot about it, but specifically, like, this is kind of Bruce Campbell's showcase. He is the main person in this movie. Everybody else is like fades into the background.
Go. Keep going.
No,
Keep going.
No, I was finished. Go for it.
Oh, I was going to say, it's funny you mentioned that because I agree with that 100%. In fact, the weakest part of the movie, and it's still not bad, it's just like kind of slows things down a little bit, is when the other characters arrive.
Yeah.
Like, not in a bad way. It's more like, okay, so we have these other characters showing up, but I just kind of want to see Bruce Campbell go insane for another 30 minutes.
Yeah, and like a lot of it's kind of just like, oh, it seems like it's just this one character, these few characters that are put in as kind of the, oh, my parents were here in this cabin doing this research. Hey, boyfriend, will you come with us? Along with clearly like stereotype hillbilly dude.
That was insane. But at the same time, I get it. It's also to increase the kill count because there are some interesting kills here. Specifically, like when the hillbilly is eaten and he's skinned alive.
Oh, I must have forgot. I forgot that bit. Dang.
Well, he remember he's dragged into the cellar by Harriet, and when Ash goes down there, you see his skeleton, and there's no skin, there's no flesh, there's no nothing, but he's still wearing the overalls.
Ouch. Yeah, now I remember.
You remember now?
Yeah, I remember now. Maybe it's just me, but I kind of like am picturing like the Game of Thrones skinned rather than like has skeleton, like where like it's like the muscle is still there.
Yeah, no, he's just completely devoured. There's nothing left of him other than literally bones.
Yeah, it's like, but or like when the poor woman, his sister or his daughter gets grabbed by the trees.
The hillbilly?
Yeah,
that's his wife.
Oh, that's his wife. Wow, he married up.
Yeah, he did. He really did.
But kind of a lot of it is like it's almost like Mr. Bruce Campbell's like acting, like, because it's like he's acting off of himself frequently.
Oh yeah, like I said, the whole entire in fact, like I was saying in the TV series, that one episode with the puppet where he's not acting with a lot of people other than this puppet, who's obviously voiced by himself. And you can see how well he really does do that.
Yeah. And it's kind of just a unique feat that like he could carry this whole thing on his own, really. He doesn't really need anybody else, and that's a very rare feat. Oh yeah. In fact, it's again, that's why I was saying, like, I wouldn't have minded if we just stuck the whole movie with him, constantly if the whole movie was just about him in this cabin being beset by demons. That would have been awesome. Mm-hmm. In fact, I almost would have preferred it, but I get why they did it why they did the story the way they did. It makes sense. The guy even said, Nobi said, oh, my daughter's on his way. I went with my wife, my daughter, and her boyfriend. So again, it makes sense that they would do the story the way they did. And also, Ash is not a linguist, so when the dead Ed rises, the evil starts rising, and he has to get sent back into the past, like Samurai Jack, right? In reverse for a shorter period of time.
Yeah, it didn't take him 15 years to get back like Samurai Jack.
And even then, the ending is more of a continuation of the crazy shenanigans rather than a really tragic ending for good old Jack.
Right.
Poor guy.
But it's even better because in the comic series, the man does learn to read ancient Sumerian because he's dealing with this so much.
Well, it seems like it would be a very, very useful skill, honestly, in this world, because if you don't use it, you're probably going to keep having Deadites come at you over and over again.
I would honestly argue the fact that that he's reading ancient Sumerian is more the problem. But it's sort of like once he gets back to the future, it kind of works like this. Everyone he meets now wants this book because he is in the movie they say this, he is the chosen one now. So that means he has all of the problems that come with being the chosen one.
Yeah. And all he wants to do is just go on a bender and shag women.
That's all the man wants. He can never have it because,
Do you
God,
think he's
Yeah.
much of a gamer, or do you think he does other things?
I think he fucks women. I do not think he's a gamer. No, I think the man I think is more into he's kind of like my dad. He's more into television than anything else. TV and football.
Yeah, and I think like his proper gamer setup would be more than his cabin could handle.
Not even the cabin, but his camper van.
His camper van. I mean, I don't know why I thought cabin. Maybe it's just because I got mixed up. But I think the like Evil Dead like is really simple. I think the one bum effect, at least for me, is like the evil at the end.
What do you mean?
Like kind of just like because it's just a face. It just
No,
looks like
it's a whole tree. Like, I mean, I agree with you, but I love that effect because it had to possess something. So it possessed the trees. And I actually like all of the detail in it. Like, for example, if you notice, Ash's face is on the tree.
Really?
Yeah. And it's speculated because I think it's because the evil Ash was a thing, or it was because the demon was so certain it was going to kill Ash anyways. It was an arrogant bastard. Because if you also notice, it has the other people's face on the trees, like his girlfriend, the hillbilly's wife, the boyfriend. It's the tree hand that breaks through the window. Yeah, it's an animatronic, clearly, but that is an impressive animatronic.
I would definitely agree. There's a lot of impressive stuff about it.
Yeah, and not only that, but for a budget of $2 million, and they made that.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, it wasn't going to be like Industrial Light and Magic level animatronic they had, because that's just way out of their budget.
Was Ray Harryhausen involved? Because it seems like it would be something he would do.
In actually, if you notice in Evil Dead, in Army of Darkness, a lot of the skeleton movements are very Ray Harryhausen. I don't think it was him. I think he passed away. His last movie was It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, which I believe was the 70s. Hold on.
Like Ray Harryhausen's production company, I mean. Or is that pretty much dead?
When did he pass away? Oh no, actually, Ray Harryhausen died in 2013. So yeah, he would have been involved in this probably.
And let me actually check. Like real quick, because check. What? Huh, so it's Raymond Frederick Harryhausen was his full name. Huh.
All right, he didn't do Army of Darkness, which is what I thought, but the Skeleton Army was a clear reference to him.
Yeah, like kind of like he has a like he's got a lot like of skeleton work in his filmography.
Oh yeah, like Jason and the Argonauts and everything.
Mm-hmm. I think like I don't know anything else that we could say about Evil Dead 2.
I don't think so. I think we've covered. I'm pretty sure at this point we've covered all of them.
Pretty much since like a lot of it is like this. I think like this is just kind of a typical like hero goes back in time, teaches people how to like make technology from the future, stuff like that, and just kind of like, but it's Ash, and you get a whole like he's trapped in a farmhouse with himself.
Yeah.
Little evil versions of himself, and goes nuts.
Oh, that was great. That was terrific.
Oh yes, definitely.
Oh, that was. I don't even know how they did that effect, but how I know how they did it. Like obviously they had Ash, they had Bruce Campbell doing a whole bunch of different things, and then spliced all the footage together. Probably in the same shot. You know what I mean?
Probably, yeah.
But it was a very convincing effect.
Oh, I would agree. A lot of the effects, like I think one thing about this movie that all of these movies, they don't look fake.
No, like even that scene where in the second one where he comes out of the mirror and grabs himself. I'm pretty sure they had a double do that, but that's still like that was seamless.
Either they put the double in a wig of Bruce Campbell.
That too, yeah.
And then put him like be as the person that was getting grabbed.
That too, yeah. Either way, though, that was a seamless cut, or if it was cut at all.
Yeah, it was definitely very, very impressive.
But then you also have like obviously the stop motion's a lot of fun simply because of the way that's being done. You have the skeletons who are doing all this crazy shit, which is pretty awesome. Like they're playing bagpipes and all that.
And
they're playing these drums.
They have Scottish beards.
The makeup work, especially in Army of Darkness, is really good with Evil Ash. Like you could see the holes in his skull where the shotgun hit him, and the flesh is starting to corrode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff. I think like a big thing with, especially like Army of Darkness, is just like how, like, just like it's just like just gloriously unashamed of what it is.
Oh, it knows exactly what it is. It's again, it's such a shame it was a critical flop though, or a financial flop. Because we probably would have gotten more sequels, but if we did, we probably wouldn't have gotten Spider-Man the way it came out.
And Spider-Man's fine.
But that's the thing though. If you watch Spider-Man 2 again, specifically the Doc Ock scene where they're trying to take the tentacles off, that entire sequence is just straight up out of Evil Dead. Because you got the POV shot, you got the guy with the chainsaw, you got all this different shit.
All the over-the-top reactions.
Yeah.
I would agree. It's kind of it's a Sam Raimi staple. And it kind of feels like very much like, I think like a big thing about this that we haven't mentioned, it feels like a very much pulp serial.
Are you talking about Army of Darkness specifically?
Yes.
Oh, I can agree with that. Yeah, that's pretty true.
Since you have this like just guy who comes in,
hero out of time,
meets up with a beautiful woman, has to rescue her, that sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
Just feels something like straight out of like a Conan or John Carter or Tarzan type thing.
Less jungly, but yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah, though I'm interested. Like, we did a commentary on it. That one I did manage to put up on Rumble of John Carter. I'm like, I actually kind of still like John Carter. I know like Wolf and Neff hated it, or they said they were bored by it.
I heard John Carter was okay, but the problem is that it was too little too late. Like, John Carter is a character no one remembers.
There's also the issue that Avengers came out at a similar time period.
Ouch! That never stood a chance.
Yeah, I think like let me actually look. Like, so it came out in 2012, March 9th, 2012.
Avengers came out in the summer, didn't it?
Came out May 4th.
Uh-oh.
So like 2 months after. And John Carter was like a fabulous loss of money. Like, apparently, like the loss of money was about it lost about it needed to make 600 million to break even.
Oh,
and it made 284 million.
Oh. The fact it got that far, though.
Yeah.
Like, who was dragging their kid to go see John Carter?
Yeah.
I know The Lone Ranger was a flop, but I don't think it was that big of a flop compared to John Carter.
Yeah. So apparently, like, it had like either a budget was either 306 million or 263 million.
Oh.
And it was it resulted in like a 200 million write down, making it one of the biggest box office bombs in history, with a total cost of 350 million with an estimated production budget of 263 million. It was one of the most expensive films ever made.
John Carter.
Yeah.
That is, again, like, I can't get over that. Who the hell? I know this was a passion project by the guy who directed it. He'd been wanting to make one for years. I get that. But sometimes sometimes it's just not meant to be, man.
So here's the list going. John Carter is actually 11th in 11th in most expensive films adjusted for inflation.
What's the rest? I'm actually curious.
At number 10 is Half-Blood Prince, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Yeah. Then Tangled at number 9. Justice League at number 8 at 300 million, which in current day is 317 million. Spider-Man 3, which in current day is 322 million. Titanic, 322 million, even though it was 200 at the time. Avengers Infinity War, which is 335 million. Endgame, Infinity War, then Endgame. Pirates at World's End was 374 million. Age of Ultron was 400 million. And then in today's money. And Stranger Tides is the most expensive film at 435 million.
Wow. I hate Stranger Tides. That movie sucked.
It is very underwhelming, and it definitely doesn't. I don't know what that budget went into, honestly.
I think it went to the scenic shots, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of like background sets that are actually pretty good. I do recall some of the backgrounds being extremely good. But here's the thing. I never saw Stranger Tides in theaters. I didn't watch it till way later. I played the Lego Lego Pirates of the Caribbean game first. So imagine, if you will, you're being recounted the plot of of On Stranger Tides, but no one is talking, and it's all being done through exaggerated movements. I had no clue what was going on in that plot. And then I saw the movie. I understood the Lego game more than I understood the movie.
You know what? Yeah. The movie is pretty. It's kind of weird that like the movie doesn't really have very much spectacle, especially compared to At World's End, which is number 3 most expensive movies.
I unironically like World's End because there's actually, I would honestly argue that one has the most clever writing in it. Not in terms of plot, but in terms of character writing. There is a lot of good dialogue in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
But go on.
I would definitely agree with that. But kind of like with what is it? With the On Stranger Tides, you don't even really have like any spectacle, really. Like, and I'm not saying like a movie, like usually a movie that is like that expensive, that's like $435 million in today's money to make.
Yeah.
Usually, like you would assume that there's an element of spectacle, but no.
I can't remember. Only scene I kind of remember was maybe the part with the mermaids or the sirens and how they were on the lighthouse island or whatever. But other than that, I don't really recall.
The mermaids are the only cool bit of the movie. Really,
yeah, that was
since they're creepy.
And not only that, but for some reason the plot involved a priest or something, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And then you have 5, which is just a piece of shit.
Yeah, 5 is pretty bad.
That is such a crappy movie. And Jeffrey Rush finally says, all right, I'm out for real this time. I'm done.
I am not coming back for any more of these frickin' movies. I've given up, and Johnny Depp is clearly having a bad time because he's going through
messy divorce.
Messy divorce with somebody who, like depending on who you believe, is apparently crazy.
It is such a shit show. But yeah, I have no idea where the money in that movie went to.
Yeah. But it's just kind of weird that, like, On Stranger Tides, of all things, is the most expensive movie of all time.
You know, it must be nice to have Disney money. Like, you could just throw that shit around without having anything to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all the movies you listed, except for maybe Harry Potter and Titanic, were Disney movies.
Yeah.
Again, it must be wonderful to have like billions of dollars to throw at any project.
Well, and that's just going to increase because Disney Plus is going to radically, like, now it has like a bunch of Fox movies like Greatest Showman, which a lot of people liked.
I like that movie.
It also has Aragon, which people hate. There's kind of a meme from Studio C that this is when this young inventor is making stuff like, and the owner's son is coming in and ruining everything. But when he said, like, by saying like, TV, what is this? This is a TV remote. We'll have hundreds of buttons which do nothing.
Oh, my favorite. You're familiar with riff tracks, right? Or
vaguely, yeah.
Okay, I have the Harry Potter ones, and there's a great one in the third movie where he's riding Buckbeak the hippogriff, or it's a hippogriff, where he's riding Buckbeak, and one of the guys just says, and at this moment, the guy who played the kid in Aragon hurls a whiskey bottle at the screen.
Yeah, but I think like the joke with Netflix, like another joke was, this is Netflix. Will be the home of all lousy movies.
I would, at this point, I'd honest to God argue that distinction belongs to Amazon. There is so much shit on there.
Yeah, but I think my favorite one was What is this? YouTube will launch the career of Justin Bieber.
But yeah, I think we've exhausted Evil Dead though.
I think so, yeah. Like the Evil Dead remake, we've kind of talked a lot about the Evil Dead remake like already, and just like it's definitely trying for more realism, but the problem is
I don't care. I just don't want that.
Yeah, I don't think that works very well at all. And like they don't blur the line enough between what could be real and what's not real enough.
They don't do it at all, I'd argue. Like every
true.
every moment in the movie, you know this is actually happening because other people are reacting to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or at least like maybe like not the like they don't necessarily like blur the line like in terms of like this probably can't happen. This like the disbelief of the characters is only there because of the idea that she's going nuts because she's going through withdrawal. Nobody goes through withdrawal like this.
Yeah,
this is something else entirely.
This is some demonic possession bullshit.
I've had it with this demonic possession bullcrap in this mother effing camp.
But again, there's never a moment in the movie where I'm questioning if this is actually happening or not, because you could argue like there's so many fake outs in Evil Dead 2, like when he has the mirror thing. Remember the part where he's in the chair I think that was no. There was a part where he's sitting in the chair. Oh, and Linda's dancing in the moonlight, and he dreams that she's strangling him, only to wake up back in the chair, and then she arrives with the chainsaw.
Yeah, I just go, and then she's swinging around without her head, just wildly. The only thing to really like I would recommend this movie to is just gorehounds.
Here's the thing. I kind of am a gorehound. I like some really good gore in movies. That's why I watch a lot of zombie movies, simply because I enjoy watching the dismemberment and just body limbs and blood fly. I can recommend it if you want to feel slightly disgusted, but I would still argue there are better.
I think a big problem is the character work is very bad.
Yeah, it's not. I would watch a best of kills before I'd recommend watching the whole movie.
Yeah, especially since like you have people like since like the only really like standout is Jane Levy. Everybody else is kind of just phoning it in, mostly because everybody else has something to do. Everybody else like has nothing to do compared to her. The only person who actually is possessed, and therefore kind of, and has a lot of screen time being possessed. Yeah. A big part of it is like she's a dang good actress too. Oh yeah. I was like I'd heard like good things about her performance in this movie, but then I watched it and I'm just like they undersold how good of an actress she is, really. Really, to be perfectly honest, like she really sells like everything she does, and is clearly having a lot of fun. Oh yeah, I definitely want to know how they got that tongue effect. I'd have to guess a prosthetic, but holy shit! Like they were probably like very careful to make sure we are not like doing anything nasty to this actress's tongue. That's true, yeah. Because if they did, they would probably have lawsuits up there. They would have the lawyers would be shoving the cannon right up their ass if that happened. Easily. Yeah. But yet people can get hypothermia on Game of Thrones and nothing happens to the producers.
That's probably because they bought. I'm pretty sure when that happened, there was an out of court lawsuit. They settled out of court.
Probably for like 200 people.
Well, hey, that's HBO money. Like,
Yeah, they got a lot of stuff.
yeah,
They're pretty rich.
yeah.
But yeah, most terrifying film you will ever experience on this poster. I'm just like, no, I've seen Haunting
No.
of Hill House and Bly Manor were scarier. Midnight Mass was scarier, which I kind of want to watch that at some point. I don't know when we would do that.
You know what was actually scarier, at least for me? Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. That was scarier.
Really?
I was traumatized by those books when I was a boy. Like, they read them in class, and I was a wimp as a kid. I won't lie, mostly because I was traumatized by that Alien Encounter Disney ride back in like '95. I was 2 and came nearly face to face with a xenomorph. So,
Well, I was scared of the dark because I had nightmares about this demonic humanoid black lion that would chase me through my dreams, like as a recurring nightmare every night. And I was scared of the dark for many, many years.
well, the alien from Disney did the same to me. It traumatized the hell out of me to the point where I did not sleep without a light till I was a teenager, simply because that trauma ran deep, man.
Yeah, like that. It took me like teenage years to kind of like, and actually like gain the like at least the capacity of like semi lucid dreaming when I just just got control over it and started punching it rather than just running. That actually helped a lot.
But yeah, I'd recommend skipping the remake. It's just not really worth it.
Yeah.
Much better movies.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Just watch the original 3 and Ash vs. Evil Dead if you want to get your Evil Dead fix. This is not very Evil Dead.
Read the comics, play the games. They're much more better to go through.
Hmm. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We've covered all of them.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any more that we can really say about these movies. So, final thoughts. I'm just like, don't watch the remake. It's not very good. It's not very entertaining. The second movie is really good. It's got a lot of charm. The practical effects are really great. Bruce Campbell is pretty much like worth the price of admission alone.
Oh, easily.
And then Army of Darkness is just fun. And it's like, if you're like angry at Game of Thrones, this is the best possible way that you could have gotten a Game of Thrones ending.
Yeah, it's one of the better. It's also one of the better King Arthur movies, unironically.
Yeah, I kind of want to do that series since like there are 4 specific King Arthur movies that stand out to me. Well, maybe 5. So there's 6. Let me run down the list. Since there's Monty Python and the Holy Grail,
obviously,
Excalibur, which is King Arthur but directed by Zack Snyder.
Wait, that wasn't directed by Zack Snyder.
No, I mean like which is the way I've heard Excalibur described is basically it's Game of Thrones is directed by Zack Snyder.
I've seen Excalibur, and from what I remembered about it, I like it. I do enjoy the movie. It's been a long time since I've seen, but it's a very gritty movie. It's not gritty, but it's a very.
It's
very raw. It's a raw movie. I will say that it is a raw movie. But one of the biggest problems is that it was cut.
Dodgy.
No, not that. It's that I think a third of the movie was cut because the studio wanted it 2 hours instead of 3. So we still have 3 acts, but we're missing a lot of context for things that happen between Act 2 and Act 3.
Like the Holy Grail stuff.
Yeah, specifically, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember liking the movie.
Mm-hmm. And then we have First Night, which is basically King Arthur from the perspective of Lancelot in a very condensed time period. Then you have the Clive Owen King Arthur movie, which is basically historical King Arthur. Then you have the one with what's his face? Charlie Hunnam as King Arthur, smashing his fist into his nuts in the opening scene. No, really, that's an actual thing that happens.
Oh, don't forget, we also have The Last Night.
Yeah, we've done that. That was crap.
Yes, I remember. I was there.
Yeah. And then we have The Kid Who Would Be King, which ironically is the best one.
I saw the trailers for that. I said, fuck no, I ain't seeing this shit.
I did watch it in theaters. I was just like, this is pretty cute. I like this. And the kid play Andy it's actually Andy Serkis's kid playing King Arthur, the King Arthur analog in this. Huh. And the movie, it's I think like the Merlin actor is really good. And you also get Patrick Stewart briefly cameoing, which I thought was great as Merlin, which was fun. Huh. And then you have Rebecca Ferguson playing Morgana Le Fay, and that's like, good casting. Very good casting. Very perfect casting. Yeah. You gotta love them Swedish dames. They're prime. Definitely prime.
They're prime choice.
Yes.
Or prime cut.
Well, she is pretty cut. If you've seen Mission Impossible 5 and 6, she is pretty dang cut, especially in 5.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah. We've gone through a lot of tangents, but yeah, I think we've covered all the bases. Besides, well, I gotta get going soon. I got work in the morning.
Makes sense. Well, alrighty, boys and girls. Boy/girl. I have no idea who's watching.
Yeah.
Bro. Evil Dead's kind of niche. Oh. You come in at the last, you died.
You son of... Once again, White.
It's not my fault. I had to go to the store and take care of things. Ugh.
Well, we're about done, and I gotta get going.
You're not about me. This is about Evil Dead.
I hate you. Oh, that reminds me. I was watching a movie today called Dance of the Dead, which like I said, was one of the zombie movies I've been watching as of late. There was a character named James Dunn, and I nearly turned the movie off. I was seriously about to turn the movie. I was about to turn the movie off.
Why? Because I'm a dead? Why? Because I have such terrible memories associated with me?
Yes. Because anything with your name on it just can't be good for me.
Well, the nice thing is we're going to be watching mostly good stuff,
quote unquote.
Well, Wheel of Time isn't coming out till November, the tail end of November. And that's only going to be for 4 weeks, probably, since there's only 6 episodes in the first season, as far as I'm aware. And before that, we'll just watch Ash vs. Evil Dead, Cabin in the Woods.
This stream is dead.
Bubba Hotep.
And Bubba Hotep. As you'll have to put those in the stream team chat so I remember Bubba Hotep. That way we can watch it.
At least Replica didn't diz him out.
Huh?
Well,
without me being here.
Well, he's not going to show up for this. He doesn't care.
Yeah, he wouldn't. He
He
has
doesn't
no
like-
taste.
It seems
No.
like he cares about Transformers, the prequels, and I don't know what else.
What a basic bitch.
At least I don't know what else he likes.
And
I
he was
legit-
making the dumbest complaints against Doom Eternal on his
Whatever.
live streams.
Whatever, man.
Like the Doomslayer can't break glass in the Hell on Earth mission, and that's a complaint.
That's not well.
You can't blast through everything. You got to have obstacles to keep out of the way of the demons.
That's not a limitation of the Doomslayer. That's a limitation of the game as a whole.
Yeah.
And that's how you keep boundaries.
Yeah. You got to have them boundaries, or else we can't all be duns.
Mm.
I'm gonna keep.
You're gonna put fucking Tark in a coma with all your cringy comments.
Yeah, you know what? I think I'm gonna go to bed. I actually need to get up in the morning.
Are you gonna go
That
to
was
bed or are
bad.
you gonna go to Mulder's Discord?
I am going to go to bed. I don't
Alrighty.
have the energy tonight.
Alrighty. We'll
It
call that
isn't-
good.
He doesn't
We'll
have
call-
the energy to compete with 8 other people in the same chat.
To bitch and moan for like another 2 hours.
Alrighty. Well, we will call it good for tonight. A little bit of a dry stream, but hopefully we'll be able to get some fun stuff for
Yeah,
Ash vs. Evil Dead.
I was such a great help in this entire stream. I was like the
Yeah,
main
you
star.
you really brought your A game. You weren't here.
No, that's right. That's how I brought my A game.
Well, we won't have like so much bad. We won't have like angry stuff. I'll be putting some like by this point all of the sequel reactions are up, including the original one of Rise of Skywalker. They're all on Rumble now, so you can watch us bitch and moan at the movie.
No. You're coming here to watch me bitch and moan.
That
For like
is
5 minutes.
true.
You weren't even in the movie for like that long.
Well-
No. I thought we were talking about for The Last
But-
Jedi and for
The original Rise of Skywalker review.
yeah. Let's be honest here, Dunn. They're here to watch me bitch and moan and make an ass of myself.
And Balerion piss off other people through his trolling.
That's not even if that's what he calls trolling. He sucks at it because
Well,
it pisses me off, but
Yeah.
for a different reason.
I think it's probably because Balerion is kind of not necessarily a master of trolling like most of the rest of the internet is. Like he's kind of just a genuine sweet old man and who lives alone on an apartment.
And yet more noise comes from him than everyone else on any of these goddamn channels.
Alrighty. Well, I gotta let Tarek go. This has been a good chat. Lots of tangents, but I think we've covered most of like our
thoughts.
most of our thoughts on Evil Dead. We pretty much covered the whole thing. But I think on Thursday, we don't really have anything. So we're probably just going to start on watching Ash vs. Evil Dead. And then we'll watch, I think maybe just like, how about this? We just kind of like watch it on like Thursdays and we'll kind of give our movie thoughts on Tuesdays. And then we'll kind of do a season ender wrap up because I think it would kind of be difficult to do especially since we can kind of binge the whole show and it's not being released weekly. We can kind of watch like 3 episodes at a time. Since that's about 2 hours, about the same length as a movie-ish.
Yeah, it is. Each episode is 1 hour.
Yeah, so probably like 2 to 3 episodes a sitting, and then we'll be finished, and then we'll do an end of show commentary on the whole thing. Probably just go through each episode sequentially, and I'll just upload our commentaries. Try to do it weekly. I'm not sure how often. There's a lot. I have a lot of commentaries to download onto Rumble, and hopefully, like they'll stay up for several years to come. But until the Rumble gets copyright bots.
No.
But until then, like, they're free to watch, and the Rumble channel is in the description if you guys want to watch. Basically, us watch through the entire movie with our commentary. We didn't, unfortunately. I don't think the Revenge of the Sith one downloaded properly because that's not there. But the other two are. The other movies are. Thankfully.
We re-record it, and it could just be me shitting on it, and then everybody would be all upset, like Replica and all of them. It'd be great.
Nobody really Replica and Anomaly and Rick Worley and that ilk are kind of a small minority.
Yeah,
they're like, most people like either hate the prequels, think they're fun but bad, or just consider them meh. I'm
more in the fun but bad category.
Yeah.
Like,
I accept that.
All
right, guys, I'm heading out. I gotta head out.
Okay, bye. See you later. Ciao.
All right. We'll continue.
Okay.
We'll consider good there, and we'll continue after.
Okay. And he finally stopped jerking off.